Tom, here's a question for you. Some of the people on the other side are talking about the mistakes DeSantis made with Disney. There's data where we can look at to see if it's favoring him or if it's hurting Disney. Was this a good thing for DeSantis to go after Disney at a time like this? Or is this something that Bob Iger is doing because he needs it, like you were talking about off podcast?
There's a little bit of everything going on there. So if people were listening to this, just listen objectively to when DeSantis on Twitter Spaces said, it's not fair that Disney has their own way and doesn't pay taxes while SeaWorld, Universal, and the others are paying taxes as all the wonderful tourists come to Florida to enjoy themselves and go to these theme parks. He made that point. And remember, Universal, that's owned by another media giant. So the other media giant saying, damn straight, I'm paying my taxes. ABC, and Disney are not. And so there is an angle there that was very truthful that said, hey, I'm trying to even the playing field up. And they're trying to make it sound like, oh, it's because of woke things. However, Rob, if you can go find a Disney stock chart and just go back 6 months, just click on Disney stock chart 6 months. Bob Iger rolled into town right after Thanksgiving. Remember that? It was right after Thanksgiving. Our hero is back. It's like a Disney movie. Here he is. And he immediately started laying off people. He announced that they were changing some things that were going on. Remember, they raised parking rates and stuff, and he was trying to change some of the pricing at the theme parks. But Bob Iger has his hands full, and I believe this controversy is helping Bob Iger move the dialogue that's on his desk, which is fix Disney. So take a look here. Go back 6 months. Right there, you had a little pop-up where you had this ramp that ran up to February. That's called the "We're glad our hero is back," and the Disney goes from 85 to 110. But now look, since that point on February 2nd, Pat, look at that. It's a trend line down. It's gone up, down, but it's heading down. It's because Bob Iger has not been able to write.
By the way, from 110 to 85. That's not good. You go from 110 to 88.
Tom, if we can, I don't want to cut you off. If you go to Max, what I want to put, Disney's the first stock I've ever owned in my life. My grandmother bought me stock when I was a kid, and I've had it forever. If you go back to, I think this is pre-COVID, I want to say, go back to the high point. I think it hit 180 at one point. October of 2020. So even during COVID, it was at 181.
Right.
Maybe you could tell the full breadth of the story of what actually happened since COVID. Because this woke agenda with Bob Iger and everything that's happening with DeSantis is a 6-month story, year story. Mm-hmm. But it's really a 2-3 year story of what's happening with Disney.
Correct, but it's our hero coming back. Remember, Chapek was trying to stand behind the scenes.
The former CEO.
He was behind the scenes. He was supporting a woke agenda, but he was not at war with DeSantis. There had been some words like, hey, buddy, we may need to talk about your tax thing. The war really started between Iger and DeSantis. And DeSantis is just saying, hey, Disney, you need to be just like Universal, just like SeaWorld, just like Animal Kingdom, all this stuff. You need to pay your taxes. And you had a benefit, an economic benefit called economic development that all cities do to attract business. And DeSantis is like, I think 50 years of economic development benefits is enough, and I'm going to take it back. And Iger is out there trying to address profitability, but now he's talking about this because
it's the blame game. He's got something to blame.
He's got something to blame, man.
It's not my fault. He did it.
Bingo.
It's Ron. Ron did it. They did it. If it wasn't for Ron, this would have never happened to us.
That's what Iger's saying?
That's kind of what Tom is saying.
But Vinny made a great point. Which Disneyland was closed and which was open, making Disney money during COVID?
Yeah.
Florida was open.
Yep.
Well, so Chapek and Iger and the Disney shareholders owe a little bit of a thank you because there was millions of dollars of EBITDA that was created because Disney was open and California was closed.
We all know Iger is brilliant. We all know Iger is a genius. We all know Iger is on the list of top 5 executives. I'd say top 10 executives in the last, he's probably top 5 executives in the last 40 years. Who do you put ahead of him? I only think about a couple names. And I'm not talking founders because he's not a founder. I'm talking executives. So you can't put a Jobs or some of these guys.
Tim Cook.
You got to put Welch as a 40. You got a few names, but I don't even know if I put Welch ahead of him. I think Welch was, for this guy to buy and negotiate all the deals and get guys like Jobs to agree to sell no, that's not normal to do that. I think Bob Iger has to have a meeting with his wife, with his family, with his kids, with his close friends, with the people he respects the most, who will give him sincere feedback if he hasn't already had this meeting. And guess what, Bob? Get in the ring. Make a decision to get in the ring.
To run, you mean?
Yes, get in the ring.
Oh, it's too late for
no,
that.
it's not about this one here and the next one here, but start planning you going into the ring. You know, it sounds like a guy that's itching to fight these heavyweights, but he's doing it from the outside.
And he's a little scared.
If you read his book, The Ride of a Lifetime, he talks about it, that he was sitting with Murdoch, I believe. Who was he sitting with? Murdoch or one of those guys, Roger Ailes.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the fact that he has asked, well, are you going to run for president? And he's like, I told him no, but I was thinking about running for president. Why don't you just make a decision and run and tell the world about it? Look, by the way, he wrote a book. Look how many views it's got. Look how many reviews it's got.
Wow, 21,000.
22,000 reviews right there. I mean, that's a 3-year-old book, 4-year-old book that's doing that well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.